สิ Let's go to know No boy
Let's get it.
I don't know. อ เ